I died, choking on my own blood, the metallic tang flooding my mouth as the yacht's deck tilted into the black Pacific waves. My husband's hands, those same hands that had vowed to love me, wrapped around my throat like a noose of lies. Betrayal burned hotter than the salt water rushing in. Every gasp a replay of the wedding vows we'd shattered just months before. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button, slamming me back into my body on that very wedding day, heart pounding with the echo of my last breath, ready to rewrite the script with blood and cunning. The chapel air was thick with lilies and hypocrisy, my veil itching like a shroud as I stood there, 28 and blissfully ignorant in my past life, staring into the eyes of the man who'd orchestrate my murder. Ethan Blackwood, Wall Street shark with a smile sharp enough to fillet a soul, squeezed my hand just a little too tight during the vows. "I do," he murmured, his voice silk over steel. And the congregation, my so-called family included, erupted in applause that rang hollow even then. But not anymore. This time, I knew the poison in his kiss, the ledger of secrets he'd buried deeper than my eventual grave. And then came the mockery, the gut punch that had always festered like an open wound. My father, Victor Russo, the kingpin of Chicago's underbelly disguised as a legitimate real estate mogul, rose from his pew with a Scotch-slurred grin, clapping me on the back hard enough to jolt the bouquet from my fingers. "Look at you, Gianna, trading your fatigues for frills. From barking orders at boot camp to playing house, hope this pretty boy's got more spine than those sailor boys you bossed around." Laughter rippled through the room, his cronies chuckling like hyenas, oblivious to the storm I'd become. In my first life, I'd laughed it off, cheeks burning, desperate for his approval after years of proving I wasn't just the tomboy disappointment. But now I savored the irony, because seconds later, as the doors burst open, 200 seals in dress blues flooded the aisle like a tidal wave of retribution, snapping to attention with a thunderous stomp. "Admiral on deck," their commander bellowed, and the hall fell silent as a tomb. Every eye on me, Gianna Russo, Rear Admiral, the ghost they'd saluted in life and death. The wedding reception blurred into a haze of forced toasts and Ethan's wandering eyes on the bridesmaids. But my mind was a razor, slicing through the timeline I'd already lived and lost. I'd clawed my way up the Navy ranks, not for glory, but to escape the Russo shadow, Victor's empire of laundered cash and bent cops that had tainted every breath of my Chicago childhood. At Annapolis, I was the Italian-American firecracker who outshot the boys and outstrategized the brass, earning my stars through black ops in the sandbox and cyber hunts that kept admirals up at night. Ethan? He was the golden boy I met at a DC gala, all Ivy League charm masking the fact that his hedge fund was a front for skimming Navy contracts, my contracts. In life, our honeymoon in Monaco turned into a trap when he discovered I'd been feeding intel to the feds about his ties to Dad's operations. Double betrayal. The man I loved and the father who sired me, both selling me out for a slice of the pie. But rebirth, it was a gift wrapped in barbed wire. Waking in my bridal suite that morning, staring at the mirror's reflection of my unscarred face, the noose marks faded to nothing. I felt the surge of second chances like adrenaline in my veins. No more playing the dutiful daughter or the blind bride. This time, I dismantled them brick by venomous brick, starting with the wedding itself, a stage too perfect to waste. As the string quartet struck up some sanitized Sinatra, I slipped away from the dance floor, Ethan's arm possessive around my waist like he owned the deed to my soul. "Where you headed, Admiral?" he teased, loud enough for the cluster of his banker buddies to snicker. In the old timeline, I'd have blushed and quipped back about needing air.
Now,
I turned, my smile a scalpel, to remind your guests why they salute when I walk in. His laugh was easy, but I caught the flicker. Uncertainty? Good. Let it gnaw. Outside on the terrace overlooking the Potomac, the November chill bit through my gown, but it grounded me, sharpening the edges of my plan. Victor was inside, schmoozing with Ethan's investors, probably already whispering about merging our family businesses. The secret he'd buried? Not just the mob money, it was the hit on Mom, staged as a carjacking when I was 12, because she threatened to flip to the feds. I'd found the files in his study years later, during a drunken raid after a deployment, but buried them too loyal, too broken to wield the truth. Ethan knew. Of course, Victor's dowry for our union was silence on that score, plus a cut of the Navy's black budget slush fund Ethan was siphoning. My phone buzzed in my clutch, a burner I'd forgotten from my ops days. Now active with a single contact, Agent Hale. The Fed I'd trusted in life one, the one who got too close and paid with a bullet to the head. This time, I'd loop him in from the jump. Text sent, Russo wedding. Blackwood's in. Proof en route. G attached was a scanned ledger from Ethan's briefcase. Swiped during the pre-ceremony chaos. Dates. Accounts. The works tying him to Victor's arms deals. Hale's reply was instant, on it. Stay frosty. Back inside, the party's pulse throbbed with jazz and clinking glasses, but tension coiled in my gut like a spring-loaded trap. Victor cornered me by the bar, his breath whiskey sour. You pulled it off,
kid.
Ethan's connected real money, not that government scrap you chase. His hand clamped my shoulder. Paternal poison. But don't forget where you come from. Family first. I met his eyes, the same muddy brown as mine, and let the mask crack just enough. Family? Like how you handled Mom's accident when she got too chatty. The words hung. A grenade pin pulled. His face drained, cigar nearly tumbling from his lips. What the hell? Save it, Dad. I know about the waterfront warehouse drop. The .45 that ended her. And Ethan's not just your golden ticket, he's the leak that's gonna sink you both. Guests milled oblivious. But a few heads turned at the raised voices. Ethan's gaze locked on us from across the room. Storm clouds gathering. You threatening me, Gianna? After everything I gave you. Victor's whisper was venom. But his eyes darted. Fear. The great equalizer. Threats are for amateurs. This is justice. I stepped closer. Voice steel. Enjoy the cake. It's poisoned with truth. The SEAL salute had been my doing. A quiet order to my XO that morning. Full honor guard. Make it count. As they stood ramrod straight, metals glinting, the mockery died in Victor's throat, replaced by a dawning horror. Whispers spread like wildfire. Admiral Russo. Here, and Ethan's investors shifted uncomfortably, recalculating alliances. In that moment, the power flipped, and I felt the first thrill of vengeance uncoiling. But it was just the opening act. The real play unfolded weeks later, as Ethan and Victor scrambled to cover tracks. Unaware, I'd already lit the fuse. The first cracks in their facade appeared 2 weeks post-wedding, during what should have been our idyllic honeymoon in the Keys. Ethan had booked the yacht, the Siren's Call, a 90-footer with teak decks and a crew on payroll to look the other way. In Life 1, it was here the noose tightened, A romantic sunset cruise turning into a board meeting with Victor's enforcers, where Ethan confessed his suspicions about my Fed ties. They drugged my champagne, held me down as the engine roared, and over the railing I went, weighted with anchor chain disguised as an accident at sea. This time, I played the doting wife, bikini-clad and sun-kissed, while mentally mapping escape routes and kill switches. Ethan lounged on the foredeck, laptop open to encrypted emails, his fingers flying over keys that funneled millions from my counterterrorism slush fund into offshore shells. "Babe, check this out," he called, waving me over with that boyish grin that once melted me. "Closed a deal today, Navy contract for drone tech. Your connections paid off." I slid onto the cushion beside him, peeking at the screen with feigned awe. There it was, line items for ghost vendors, kickbacks traced to Victor's shell in the Caymans. Impressive, I purred, slipping a thumb drive from my bikini top, innocent enough to be jewelry, and accidentally knocking his water glass onto the keyboard. Sparks flew. Screen blacked out.
Oops.
Clumsy me. His curse was sharp, but he masked it quick. No biggie. Backups in the safe. Later, while he showered off the salt, I cracked the safe. Petty officer training dies hard, with a stethoscope pilfered from the first aid kit. Downloaded everything. Manifests, wire transfers, even the hit order on Hail. Timestamped the day after our wedding. Uploaded to a secure Dropbox Hail monitored. Then wiped the drive clean. Ethan's fury when he found the safe ajar? Priceless. "You see anyone messing around?" I batted lashes. "Just the crew." Maybe they got curious. Paranoia seated. Right on schedule. Back in DC, the real chess game ignited. Victor summoned me to his Water Tower Place penthouse, the one with views of Lake Michigan that mocked the blood in its waters. "We need to talk. Gianna." "Ethan spooked, says you're digging." He poured scotch. Neat. Sliding a glass my way. The old me would have taken it, seeking absolution in his gaze.
Now.
I let it sit untouched, circling the room like a shark. "Digging?"
Dad.
"If anyone's shoveling shit, it's you too." Mom's file. Autopsy report says powder burns on her temple.
Point blank.
Not a carjacker's panic shot. His flinch was microscopic, but I caught it. And Ethan's emails? I have copies. The Navy's auditing as we speak. He slammed the glass down, amber sloshing. "You ungrateful bitch. I built this for you, for us. Your mother's weakness nearly torched it all. She was gonna rat. Gianna. Snitch to those Phoebe fucks. Drag us all down. Weakness." I laughed, bitter as the wind off the lake. "She loved you enough to stay silent until you made her a ghost. And me, I idolized you, Dad. Joined the Navy to be the son you wanted. Saluted your shadow every deployment. But you sold me out for a hedge funder's wink." Victor's face twisted, the mobster peeking through the mogul mask. "Ethan's ambitious.
Smart.
He'll keep the lights on when your stars fade." He stepped closer. Hand reaching, placating, threatening. "Drop it. Marry him proper. Pop out heirs. Or what? Another yacht ride." I pulled my sidearm from my clutch service Beretta, licensed and lethal, leveling it casual as a cocktail stirrer. "Try it. See how fast SEALs turn this penthouse into a sieve." He froze, eyes bulging. "Controversial? Hell yes, drawing on blood in the heart of the loop, with paparazzi drones humming outside. But it bought me time. a heartbeat of dominance that echoed my admiral's bark. You're bluffing. Am I? The safety clicked off. A promise. Hale's got the files. One word for me, and the RICO indictments drop like confetti at our next family barbecue. He backed off. Hands up. The king dethroned in his own castle. Gianna. Think about this.
I have.
Every night since I came back, the gun stayed steady until the elevator dinged his retreat. Then I holstered it. Pulse racing not from fear, but exhilaration. First blood. Ethan's retaliation came slyer. A whisper campaign through Navy channels, rumors of my instability, leaked psych evals from a fabricated stress leave. Brass called me in. The conference room at the Pentagon reeking of stale coffee and suspicion. Admiral Russo. These allegations, affair with a subordinate? Substance issues. The room's eyes bored in. A tribunal of my own making undone. I leaned forward, unflinching. Sirs, with respect, that's Ethan's playbook. Check his funds ties to Russo Realty. Embezzlement. Money laundering, it's all there. I slid a dossier across the table. Hale's polish gleaming on every page. Gasps rippled. The base commander, a grizzled vet I'd pulled from a Taliban ambush years back, met my gaze with a nod. We'll look into it, but the twist? They suspended Ethan pending investigation, freezing his assets. Victor's empire quaked as suppliers ghosted. Whispers of FBI tails on his tail. I watched from afar, nursing a bourbon in a Georgetown dive, the burn a poor substitute for the fire in my veins. Vengeance tasted sweet, but hollow, echoes of the girl who died loving them. Then the call came. Hale's voice gravel over the line. Gianna, we've got a mole. Inside your detail. Yacht's rigged, same as before. Ice flooded my gut. They were accelerating, cornering me before the indictment stuck. Time to flip the board. The trap snapped shut on a fog-shrouded dawn off Chesapeake Bay, the yacht slicing through mist like a predator's fin. Ethan had insisted on a make-up cruise, his apologies syrupy over dinner the night before, roses, regrets, the works. I fucked up.
Babe.
Let Dad get in my head. We're solid. You and me. His hand on my knee. Pleading. Almost convincing. But I saw the tells. The twitch in his jaw. The way his eyes flicked to the cabin door where his security lurked. I'd prepped like it was Fallujah. Go bag stashed with flares. Sat phone. And a compact Glock taped under the vanity. Hale's warning burned fresh, mole in my detail. Likely Petty Officer Reyes. The kid I'd mentored. Now bought off with promises of a cushy post-Navy gig. As the deckhands, Ethan's hires, not mine, cast off, I palmed a tracking beacon, slipping it into the engine compartment.
If it went south,
satellites would sing. Breakfast was a farce of mimosas and malaise. Ethan prattling about fresh starts while I nodded, mind miles ahead. Remember our wedding, he mused, clinking glasses. Your old man had a laugh, calling you out on ditching the uniform. I forced a smile, the mockery a fresh scar. Yeah. Then the SEALs stole the show. Guess they knew something you didn't. His fork paused midair, eyes narrowing.
Gotcha.
Good morning. As he excused himself for a call, Reyes sidled up, young face slick with sweat. Ma'am, Captain wants you below for charts. Bullshit. But I played along, descending the companionway with casual grace, hand brushing the Glock's grip. The cabin reeked of varnish and deceit, Ethan waiting with a syringe glinting in the porthole light. Same cocktail as before. Ketamine laced with enough sedative to drown regrets. Gianna. Love. We gotta talk. His voice was regretful. Almost tender. As he advanced. Victor's panicking, thinks you're cracking. But me? I still want this. Just. Sleep it off. Yeah, when you wake. We'll fix it. I backed against the bulkhead, feigning terror. Ethan. Please. Don't. The lunge was textbook, but I was faster. Navy combatives turning his grab into a twist. Syringe clattering to the deck. Fix it? Like you fix Mom? Or hail? His shock was pure. How did I know? And I pressed, knee to groin, following with an elbow to the throat. He gagged, crumpling, but Reyes burst in, .38 barking wild. The shot grazed my shoulder, fire blooming, but I rolled, drawing the Glock in a fluid arc. 2 center mass, Reyes down in a heap, eyes wide in betrayal of his own. Ma'am. Save it.
Kid.
Ethan's dime. Ethan scrambled up. Feral now. Lunging for the syringe. Controversial choice. I could have cuffed him. Waited for Hale's bird. Instead, I fired low, kneecap shattered. His scream a symphony. You choked me once, I hissed, zip-tying his wrists as he writhed. Now feel the squeeze. Sirens wailed distant. My beacon worked. Coast Guard inbound. But Victor? He'd slipped the net. Chartering a jet to Palermo under a ghost alias. Hale's text confirmed. Russo's airborne. Extradition's a bitch. But we've got warrants. The chopper ride back was a blur of medics and statements. My shoulder stitched under fluorescent glare. Brass cleared me. Self-defense. Clean shoot, but the headline screamed, Admiral wife in yacht shootout. Mob ties exposed? Pundits on Fox and CNN dissected it like chum. My controversial marriage a tabloid feast. Feminist icons hailed me as a badass. MAGA trolls called me a deep state witch. Public venom. But it armored me, Gianna Russo. Unbowed. Victor's counterpunch landed in Chicago. A drive-by on my sister's brownstone, Lena. The innocent sibling I'd shielded since Mom's accident. Bullet holes pocked the facade. No casualties. But the message clear. Family pays. Rage boiled. But I channeled it cold. Flying commercial to O'Hare. No entourage. Blending into the cattle call like a ghost. The Windy City welcomed me with sleet and suspicion. Victor's old haunts shuddered under FBI tape. I hit the street solo. Tracing his bolt holes from girlhood memories, the butcher shop front, the Union Hall basement. Controversy brewed. An admiral moonlighting as a vigilante? Leaks from anonymous sources painted me rogue. But I didn't care. This was personal. Veins of venom pulsing with every denied lead. Finally, a tip from a bent cop I'd once spared in a corruption bust. Victor holed up in a Gary warehouse. The Rust Belt corpse town where Mom's hit went down. Midnight raid. Me and civvies. Glock silenced. The air stank of oil and oblivion. Shadows dancing from sodium lamps. Guards down easy, tranks. Not lead. I wasn't him.
Inside.
Victor hunched over a ledger. Pistol at elbow. Looking every year of his 65. Knew you'd come. Kid. No surprise. Just weariness as he rose. Hands empty. Like mother. Like daughter. Stubborn to the grave. I leveled the Glock. Steady as Lake Michigan's horizon. Grave? That's your specialty. The litany spilled. Mom's pleas. Ethan's confessions. The yacht's cold embrace.
You belets me.
But you broke me first. He laughed. Hollow. Broke? I made you. That steel? Russo blood. A pause. Eyes softening regret. Ethan was a mistake. Ambitious prick. But family. We protect our own. By killing yours? The trigger itched. Decision teetering. Executioner or judge. Controversial as hell. Patricide in the heartland. For a badge or a grudge. Footsteps echoed. Hale's team. Breaching silent. Victor's eyes flicked. Calculating. Shoot me. Gianna. End it. Or let the feds have the shell. Your call. The climax hung. A knife's edge. Hale's flashlight cut the gloom like judgment, his team fanning out with tack vests and barked commands. FBI. Hands up. Russo. Victor complied slow. Smirk fading as cuffs clicked home. I lowered the Glock. Barrel warm. The shot unfired. A controversial mercy? Or cowardice? The headlines would feast either way. Admiral spares mob dad in warehouse standoff. But in that suspended breath, as agents swarmed, I saw the twist uncoiling. The rebirth's cruel joke. Ethan, from his hospital bed in Bethesda, had flipped like a weather vane in a gale. Hale briefed me en route to Chicago PD's holding cells, singing like Sinatra. Full confession, your father's hits. The yacht's setup, even Mom's. Says he loved you, twisted as that is. Immunity deal pending. Loved me? The word curdled, but it cracked something, a fissure in the armor of rage. Victor's arraignment was a circus. Flashbulbs popping like gunfire outside the federal courthouse. Protesters chanting, "Lock him up," and family values in equal measure. I testified remote. Voice steady over video link. Detailing the ledgers. The emails. The chokehold's ghost. His eyes met the camera once. Pleading silent. Forgive? I looked away. The trial dragged months. A media vortex sucking in my Navy career. Suspension lifted. But whispers lingered. Is she clean? Controversial decisions piled. I leaked Ethan's psych profile to the press, painting him not monster, but pathetically human, addicted to the thrill of the con. Public opinion swung, from villain to victim, but it buried him deeper, sentencing him to 20 in Supermax. Victor's end came swifter, Rico sticking like tar. 98 counts, life without. But the twist hid in the pen, shanked by a rival crew he double-crossed decades back. Official word. Altercation. Mine?
Poetic.
I visited once.
Pre-stab. Through plexiglass.
His face gaunt. The king reduced to whispers. Proud of you, Gianna. Even now. Liar, I said, but my voice broke. You made me a killer inside. He leaned close.
Nah.
You were born admiral. I just complicated it. The gavel fell. Appeals crumbled. And Chicago exhaled. Lena hugged me tight at the funeral, closed casket, sparse crowd, whispering, he was shit, but he was ours. We scattered Mom's ashes finally. Off Navy Pier. The waves claiming what blood wouldn't. Back in D.C., the Pentagon reinstated me full bird. A quiet ceremony with the SEALs who'd saluted my wedding farce, now toasting my return. To Admiral Russo, their CO boomed, who salutes sharper than she shoots. Laughter. Genuine. Wash the scars. But rebirth's aftertaste lingered in quiet nights. Bourbon by the window, overlooking the memorials. Ethan wrote once. From Leavenworth, I see it now, the monster in the mirror. Forgive?
No.
But understand? I burned it. Ashes to wind. The happy ending? Bullshit. It was reckoning me, whole if jagged, commanding a carrier group in the South China Sea. Orders barked with Victor's gravel and Mom's fire. Betrayal's echo faded. But the tension? It fueled me. A controversial phoenix rising from American ashes. Twists whisper, in the mirror some dawns. I catch his eyes, Dad's staring back. Family's a noose we all wear. But this time, I choose the knot.